turns out, this is from the New York Daily News, nearly a third of U.S. tenants didn't pay their rent the first week of April. A third. So that makes you feel better if you didn't pay your rent, you didn't have your money to pay it. It's like, oh, it's not just me. This is a mass problem. Wouldn't it be something if a politician got in front of this and said, hey, don't pay your rent, and then comes out that third of the country didn't? He goes, look, these are my followers. I'm powerful. That would have been smart for somebody to do that. Nobody did it. Well, let's get into it. A national landlord group has found that nearly a third of U.S. renters didn't pay any of their rent in the first week of April, a stark sign of how much American families are struggling economically during the coronavirus pandemic. Only 69% of households had their rent by April 5th, down from 81% that had paid by March 5th, and 82% that did so by April 5th in 2019. So that doesn't sound so raucously crazy, but it does. I'm sure that's all. According to data collected by the National Multifamily, so almost 70% of households paid their rent by April 5th. That's down 12% from March 5th, and it's down 13% from a year ago. So 13% more households didn't pay their rent from a year ago by April 5th. The percentage of payments is likely to grow as many renters are expected to pay their rent later in the month or made online payments that weren't processed by April 5th. Still, the drop in payments during the first 5 days of the month suggests many renters are struggling to keep up with their bills as businesses across the country shut their doors to slow the spread of coronavirus, which has already killed 13,000 people in the United States. Many more than that, believe me. They're not counting how many people are dying. So there you go. That's it's only going to get, that number's going up in May. And so I've had people ask me, they'll say, well, Jimmy, I'm not a corporation and I own an apartment building. What am I supposed to do as a landlord? Okay, well, let's run here. I'll just cut to the chase. What you're supposed to do is maybe start a landlord association to go petition your representative to say we need a solution. Because if I kick my people out of my apartment for not paying their rent, there aren't any other more people with rent money to come in. Nobody's got rent money. Nobody's got any money. So you can evict all you want. There isn't going to be someone else coming in with rent money. There's not a bunch of people out there right now with rent money who can't find a place to live. You see what I'm saying? That's what I say to those people. Like, what do you think's going to happen when everybody defaults on their rent in your apartment? You think you're going to find new renters? Somebody who's got a job in this economy? Or is it, I mean, come on. So obviously, landlords are treating, or some landlords, not all, some landlords are treating this like it's a personal problem, which it is a personal problem, but it's not a personal problem to solve. It's a societal problem. And so it has to be solved societally. Is that a word? I don't even know. Do you understand? It has to be solved by the society at large. It's like outsourcing, right? We could we're going to close your factory, send all your jobs to slaves in another country. That's not a personal problem. That's a societal problem. And so we need to address it as a society. And so that's what I would be doing. If you're a property owner, you already have sway. Most of the goddamn city councils are run by real estate developers. The guy who is the mayor of Pasadena is a real estate developer. That's who has the stranglehold on your city councils, just in case you didn't know. It's the real estate developers, okay? The real estate people, they have all the control of local government. So that's what I would tell the renter guy. Well, you go ahead. You gonna evict people in the middle of a depression? You think you're gonna be able to find another renter? Do you think those people are not paying their rent because they're a bad risk, or they're stingy, or they're bad with their money, or because it's a fucking depression and the government shut down everybody's companies? I mean, what do you think? Well, you get them out. You get somebody in better whose job isn't at risk also? I mean, it's nuts. So how about work towards a societal solution to this? That's what I say to the landlords. Work towards pressure your bought, captured city councils are bought and captured by the real estate market. Come on. Okay, there's that story.
Well, Jimmy, I just want to talk about, when people are evicted from their homes, a lot of times you have to have a policeman
You have
or
to
a
have
sheriff.
police. That's right.
So do you think right now in this crisis that they are going to be so emotionally disconnected by their neighbor being pushed out? They're not vulnerable too?
So
you don't think policemen and sheriffs aren't going to be vulnerable
Well, a lot
to
of the
this?
cops have coronavirus. A lot of cops have coronavirus. Could you look up how many cops in New York City have coronavirus?
Yes.
I bet.
It was startling just last week.
Hundreds. It was hundreds. The number I heard was hundreds of them have coronavirus. So, and we just saw a report from South Korea that 50 confirmed cases of people who had coronavirus recovered got it again. So this idea of herd immunity is a bullshit idea. And that's why Boris Johnson's in intensive care right now.
According to New York Times, 1 in 6 officers is out sick.
1 in 6 officers
in
is
New
out
York,
sick.
And this is April 3rd.
Wow. That was on April 3rd. So when they're going to evict you, they usually send the sheriff. And last time they were doing this when Barack Obama was allowing the banks to kick people out of their houses and not doing anything, in fact, facilitating it, it was local sheriffs who stopped it.
By the way, it says in the article, the epidemic has also added to a new level of risk and anxiety to police work. Even as reports of most serious crimes have dropped steeply since the city imposed the new rules, every arrest interview now carries the potential for infection.
Yeah,
officers
of course.
say. Everything, all interactions.
Right. You want to pull me over and give me a ticket for going through the yellow? You want to pull me over and give me a ticket for not signaling? You want to pull me over and give me a ticket for going 10 miles over the limit? You might die. What's more risky? Me driving 10 miles an hour over the limit, or you pulling me over and giving me a ticket? What do you think is bigger risk to the life of people in this country? I would say that.
In Detroit, Jimmy, a fifth of the police force is quarantined, and the chief of police is one of the 40 officers infected.
Wow. So we'll see what happens. We have a bunch of, cops in general are jacked up on steroid. They're rah-rah cowboys. They want to, they became cops because they fucking like it, okay? Nobody became a cop because they were do-gooders, okay? People become cops because they like being cops. They like having a gun. Who doesn't? Being in power, being in control, having a gun. There's 2 kinds of people who become cops: bullies and people who were picked on by bullies. I have a friend from high school, became a cop. He was always picked on. He was the smaller guy around always. He got picked on. He was always smart. He had he did well on tests. He became a cop. The smartest guy in my high school became a cop because he so damaged him from being bullied that he wanted to have that power. And he rose up, became a captain in the Chicago Police Department, and had the highest test scores in my Catholic high school, and is a huge racist. I'm like, that's what you did? You became a cop. You hung around the Chicago Police Department so long until you became a racist, and now he's in the FBI. So I know all cops firsthand. I firsthand knowledge of who cops are, and he wasn't that way before he went into the police department, but he certainly is that way now. And just like everyone tells you, there's 2 types of people. So if you're a good person and you want to be a do-gooder and you go into the police academy, one of 2 things happen: you succumb to the culture or you leave. You succumb to the corrupt cop culture of hyper masculine, testosterone, and steroided up maniacs, and you cover for their criminality, or you leave. That's being a cop. So someone was saying that we got more guns in this country than people, and so what's going to happen if there's an incident with a gun when some cops come to kick some people out of their apartment or out of their house? It didn't happen last time. 5.1 million families got kicked out. But I think this time people are seeing the corporate screwing, and they're not taking it. They see that it's societal. So as of April 7th, according to CNN, almost 2,000, almost 1,935 cops have coronavirus in New York.
20% of their workforce is out sick. 20%. That's about 7,000 uniformed members of the NYPD were out sick on Monday.
Hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?